I smell soup on you. Give me your soup. Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I'm Morrow and this is Mary, and we got some more RPG horror stories for today. Mary, do you like soup?
Yeah.
What's your favorite kind of soup?
I mean, we already did this intro once before, but I think I said oxtail or chicken.
Could I get some Mary soup?
No.
How would Mary soup taste like?
Creamy.
Well, I'm about to get a creamy soup after this. Well, let's go ahead and get some RPG horror stories for today. Rampant DM AI Use. I'm so continuously thankful I don't have tech bros brain rot. I've been playing with a consistent group for a while now, and the DM had slowly escalated his use of AI and it's gotten to the point of being rampant. He regularly used Gen AI and a dozen other AI automation tools for running the game, generating nonsensical questlines, player character arcs, locations, character art, and magic items that are either broken, underwhelming, or just straight up copying an established feature that the person's class already does, thus rendering the item useless. Everything down to session notes and summarizes, and it's all just disgusting. He created an entire questline centered on my character, utilizing backstory elements that was clearly made by AI because the entire thing was completely disjointed from the backstory points I have wrote. The NPCs in question didn't behave at all like they were described, and one of them actively wanted to kill my character suddenly despite being a single positive interaction in said backstory NPC roster. Now a sworn homicidal revenge-driven murderer for some crap my character didn't even do, no less. Literally just hallucinations from AI chatbot that are now canon about my character. It is so insulting.
Wow, talk about, I guess, laziness. The fact he doesn't want to work on even the character's story. They just they just use AI for it.
It's equivalent of like somebody taking a hammer, right? They're trying to build a house and they take a hammer instead of using it as an actual tool. They're just like, yeah, just chuck it at the house and say, fix it, build it for me.
Yeah.
This is such a, I personally don't see AI as just like evil incarnate overlords or anything like that, but this is so lazy. This is insultingly lazy, especially after the player writes out a whole ass backstory for you with character details that could just easily be put together. Bruh, all you have to do is just read the backstory and make the characters and create something that doesn't require a crutch from AI. This is like a DM that basically turn off their brain or their creativity and just lets the robots do the work. You can't let the robots do the work because otherwise there's no point of playing with you. You might as well play with some sort of AI DM chatbot. You might as well, because that's basically the experience of the quality you're given. You try to play with actual physical human beings trying to actually share, make connections and fun stories together, but instead everything has to go through an ugly, disgusting AI filter for everything. This is the worst way to run games. Why would you do that to your players? This is beyond insulting. This is abhorrent.
Plus, if you're using AI to make up the stories, how are you gonna like remember stuff about the character? Because if you write it, you're gonna remember because you're the one who did it. But if you use AI, it's like, how are you gonna remember every specific detail about the character? If like, it's so dumb.
You can't just grok everything. That's not how it works. Grok is not gonna help you create a competent story that your players can have fun with. This is so tragic, honestly. His reason is also pure cope too. That he works full-time. He just has to use AI to save him that 20 to 45 minutes, according to him, of prep time it would take to just make some crap up himself. Or, God forbid, improv something. I know the job market lately is garbage and some people are working themselves to death or potentially just straight up unemployed or stressed about that. But for most of my TTRPG career, I worked full-time, if not overtime, had a successful, healthy relationship and other hobbies on the side too. And I never needed AI to do it. Passion is free. Effort is free. Attention and care, our considerations are free. I just don't get how people are fine with that either. He has 2 games he runs with 2 different groups that usually meet weekly. My players would be horrified if I showed up every week with what they hope to be effort and passion for their characters. And the words that were greeted by is AI slop for quests and NPC interactions that I as a DM couldn't even bother to make myself. Or again, God forbid, frickin' improv. I don't want to abandon this table because I do like the people and I'm invested in what I know the guy can actually do when he gives a crap. But it's been a solid year since this crap started to kick up and it is so disappointing. If it's that disappointing, if it's been happening for a year and there's no course correction, I mean, if you really want to go for a Hail Mary, I say you have two options. I don't want to say you should give your DM an ultimatum. However, in a situation, maybe an ultimatum might be a good way to make him wake up, because like if this game is not approving, you clearly you're wasting your time. If this DM can't even bother to at least read your backstories and try to come up with something on their own, like they don't even have to even come up with something on their own, right? There's a bunch of free resources out there that DMs can use for encounters, magic item tables. I mean, I don't know, I can already recommend two sources. 5e Tools, if you're using D&D, is an amazing resource that can give you tables for magic items and loot and encounters and stuff. And then there's also Donjon, that's specifically designed for creating dungeon encounters or dungeon layers, or like, you know, corridors for a dungeon crawl map or something, or encounters or NPCs. There's so many resources available out there that do not require AI, that are easier to use, easier to function, and can actually give you something that physically you can work with that is better than like this AI slop and stuff. If this DM has no time to put stuff together, then they probably shouldn't be even running games whatsoever. Like, what is the point to run? Like, dude is running two separate games with two different groups and is relying off of AI as a crutch, when all he had to do is just use that little thing called his brain for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
It says the reason is because he works full time, right? But they say they do like was it every week they do a session or something? Why don't they just like spread out the sessions, not do it weekly, and do it maybe like every month or something, just so we can focus on work, but also have the time to work like properly on a really good session? Because at least the players will probably enjoy it so much more.
Or
and
hey,
also have like the DM back, you know?
If two sessions, if two games that you're running with two different groups is too much, why don't you just reduce it to one group in one session? And that's it. One game, one group, instead of two games and two groups. Clearly, this is a DM that's making up excuses for why they're using AI and using AI as a crutch, honestly. I think there's really no reason for it whatsoever. Like, I could see, let's say, I don't know, let's say, for example, if it's something small or insignificant, like a background for a token or something, I don't know, something really, really tiny, something that's completely insignificant, that's not gonna like affect the actual storytelling like moment and stuff. Hell, even like I personally don't really mind if, let's say, for example, somebody wants to use like an AI art for like a wand or a staff or something. Like, whatever, it's a visual presentation, who cares? At the end of the day, it's all about what the staff does and specifically what it do. But if everything from the writing to the character interactions to all the story elements is all handled by AI, that sounds like a very lazy DM that is not worth spending your time with. Like, this is one of those, no D&D is better than bad D&D, especially if you have to suffer another year of this. Like, it's not going to improve, especially if the guy is fighting that much against it. I feel like your best bet, OP, honestly, is just to try to just have a heart-to-heart with the DM and say, hey, listen, if this is not improving, I'm not wasting time. And if it still doesn't improve, you know what? No D&D is better than bad D&D. And this is just going to keep devolving and getting worse and worse and worse. Anyway, let's move on to the next story for today. My DM is a difficult person, but this time she went too far. Well, this is a pretty long story, and I might skip some details because I don't want this to turn into a saga. I apologize in advance for any grammar mistakes, since I'm not from a native English-speaking country. Since 2023, I've been part of an online friend group on Discord. Most of the time, we get together to play online games and tabletop RPGs using different systems. It's a healthy group, or at least it used to be. I should mention that some people in this group are friends that I know in real life. One of them is KW. Mary, we need a name.
Oh, where is KW? It's not like a single issue.
I want a name. Give me a name.
Kiwi.
Kiwi, perfect. Kiwi sounds way better than KW. Better, easy to say too, honestly. We've been friends since our first year of high school. We even ended up going to the same college. She's outgoing, easy to get along with, and makes friends very easily both online and offline. And ironically, one of those friendships is what led to this whole situation. At the end of the 2024, our group was introduced to Mafra, an online friend of Kiwi. She had a very eccentric personality. She always gave off that edgy has-been hotel, a hell of a bus Tumblr fan vibe.
Okay.
I wouldn't describe that as edgy. I would describe any of it as edgy. It's just like milquetoast horny, if anything. Or maybe kind of horny, I don't know. Has-been hotel and hell of a bus doesn't give me an edgy vibe. It gives me like a mildly horny vibe. That's really it.
I'm a fan of it, but I don't go on Tumblr. I don't know what a Tumblr fan would mean.
All I know is Tumblr is a kind of cup. Let's continue. Her humor was very edgy and heavy, and she often replicated the same jokes to the point of it getting tiring. At times, I genuinely thought she was a young teenager, like 13 or 14, so I was honestly surprised to find out she was about to turn 19. Still, she wasn't always weird, so it was manageable. Mafra ended up creating a D&D campaign using her own homebrew setting, basically a Victorian-era version of D&D. We liked the idea and agreed to play, but her strange behavior started showing up again once the campaign began. In the very first session, she made a sexual joke that left everyone uncomfortable. It might sound minor, but the joke involved a 30-year-old NPC talking about little girls' underwear. Which, yeah, okay. No, that's definitely should be questionable. Very questionable. Unless you guys doing some sort of like a weird Victorian era, like a hentai, but like weird kind of hentai kind of thing where it's like somebody's being unironically perverted and being unapologetic about it to the point where it's like gross, you know? Like for like a dumb bit or something, not actually serious. I don't even want to know if I want to ask any questions for details specifically on it. All we know is that we got a DM that might be getting into some sort of PDF file content humor potentially just for the sake of being like, are they just being edgy or is this just something that are into, you know? Like that's the question here. Are they edgy for the sake of edgy because, oh yeah, edgy's cool and all, or are they actually kind of a creep? I suppose we'll find out.
Might sound minor.
I noticed that too. I was about to say like, I wonder if it has to do with a minor. Maybe. Considering we got a confirmation. Little girl's underwear is confirmed. Despite these red flags, the campaign was still fun overall. However, around the time, it started to feel like Mafra was developing feelings for Kiwi, which weren't reciprocated. I never asked why, and honestly, it's not my interest. But she wasn't subtle about it, and she even brought it into the game. For example, in almost every session, there would be an NPC praising how beautiful Kiwi's character was. At one point, she would let Kiwi re-roll a natural one just because she was a hottie baddie.
Oh my
Mary,
god.
I got a question for you. When am I getting my hottie baddie re-rolls and stuff, huh? When am I getting my hottie baddie rolls? I'm a hottie and a baddie. A hottie because tiefling, and I'm a baddie because, well, I'm kind of a shithead. When am I getting my rerolls for being a hottie baddie, huh? Are you trying to imply that I'm not a hottie or a baddie?
No, you're totally you're more like a hottie daddy than a hottie baddie.
Whoa, you everybody heard that? Everybody heard that? It's canon now. Whoa. 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 I don't think I'm ready for that, but you know what? I don't know where this is going. Anyway, let's continue. That was still in 2024. Moving into last year, Kiwi and I were invited to a party by a mutual friend of college. During that party, we ended up kissing. I'm a straight guy, and Kiwi is a bisexual girl. This detail will matter later. We both mutually agreed not to turn it into a relationship afterwards, and we went back to being friends as usual. However, somehow, Mafra found out that we kissed. I don't know how, maybe someone told her privately, but ever since she found out, it felt like she put a target on my back. The campaign went on hiatus for a while, but even outside of it, her behavior towards me changed. If I talked in group chat, she would reply rudely out of nowhere. If I joined a voice call she was in, she would leave immediately. Everyone noticed this, and I eventually confronted her calmly about it. She said she was going through personal problems. I didn't realize she was taking that out on me. She apologized and said she would stop, and to be fair, she did tone it down, though she still acted a bit weird around me. Near the end of the year, she brought the campaign back. I thought it might be a chance to go back to normal, but instead things got worse in-game. Just like NPCs used to constantly praise Kiwi's character, now it felt like the opposite was happening to mine. NPCs would ignore or disrespect my character on purpose. It was discouraging, but I stayed because I still enjoyed playing with the rest of the group. This kept going until most recent session, where she honestly crossed the line. Whenever we first started noticing it, I feel like this is something that should have been brought up early on, because having a DM that specifically dislikes you as a person and makes every other NPC like bleed out their dislike in game, like in session, that's just a recipe for a bad situation. That's a recipe for tension and disaster, and I don't think this is a good way to handle it. I think this is actually the worst way to handle it, in particular personally, because they're taking personal problems, they're taking their attraction to another player out onto you, even though you guys aren't together. Or, you know, if she was curious of what happened, she could just ask, you know? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's something to have to do with Mafra's way of seeing things and stuff. Maybe you just got put in a crap list and you're just permanently there because Mafra is just a jealous kind of person, which makes me think maybe they are extremely jealous kind of person that is just like, suddenly you cross them, now they're gonna make sure that you have the worst time in anything that you do, which also really petty. It's just really petty of them to do that, to be honest. At one point in the story, my character and Kiwi's got separated from the rest of the group for a spy mission. Martha was basically narrating 2 storylines at once, so we could all hear each other's scenes. But then, out of nowhere, she introduced a plot where my character was under some kind of mind control spell. At first, I didn't mind. It even led to a cool moment where Kiwi's character helped mine regain control. But in the later session, she narrated that my character violently tried to grab Kiwi's character and remove her clothes. I think you can guess where that was going. The entire table immediately told her to stop. Since 2023, we had a strict rule: no sexual scenes, regardless of consent. She would describe my character as acting beastly and dirty, implying this abusive side was something internal to him. I'm kind of curious now. What happened in 2023 where only now at that point you guys decided no sexual scenes regardless of consent? What has happened that went so bad in 2023 where you had this specific rule set up? But also, what Mafra did is very much uncool. It's one thing to do like some sort of like a mind control thing just to kind of, you know, create some sort of drama for like the game itself. It's another thing to basically mind control your character so you could say another player's character. I think that's crossing the line specifically, and then just DM going out of the way just to try to put some sort of wedge between you and Kiwi. I'm assuming that's what she's trying to do, but clearly what's going to happen is they're just going to make themselves look bad. They make themselves look like an ass, like an idiot, because you're not the one doing it. It's the DM doing it. DM decided, oh, your character is going to be assaulting Kiwi's character now all of a sudden. You're not the one doing it. They chose to do it. They decided you're going to be mind controlled and going to be now like some sort of a assaulter or something, which I don't know what the end game is. How do you get away from that? So a player just literally have to ask like, so Mafra, are you just planning to have OP assault Kiwi's character because you just want to do that? Yeah, that's not a good look.
She's definitely trying to like cause like a drift between them by making like the characters be uncomfortable or making them uncomfortable on the table. But I think she's not realizing that she's making them uncomfortable around her because she's the one doing it. But in her mind, she probably sees it as like, oh, if I make their characters do something, they're not gonna like each other anymore. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think she's just kind of lost it a little bit.
Yeah, Mafra is insane. Mafra is absolutely crazy. They think that they're trying to create a wedge between OP and Kiwi, but instead it just looks like, oh, my DM forced 2 players at the table to basically like assault the one assault the other because I guess a weird DM thing. I don't know. My DM is weird. Like, you can't defend, like, it just makes Mafra look bad. It doesn't make any of the players look bad or makes it, you know, upset at each other. It makes Mafra look bad in the situation. What is the end game here? I just don't get it. They're so bitter. They're gonna take their like jealousy out in game. It's just petty as hell. We stopped the session right there. I was extremely uncomfortable and didn't interact in the chat afterwards, even when people try to lighten the mood. I talked to Kiwi about it, and she was seriously considering kicking Mafra from the server, although she also felt bad for her because of personal issues. Still, she admitted she wasn't comfortable keeping her in the group. Later that night, I tried to distract myself by playing something else. While I was in the middle of a Valorant match, I got a message on WhatsApp from another friend in the group. Let's call him Willow. His first message was, "Bro, Mafra is insane." He sent me several screenshots of a conversation we had with her after the session. When he asked why she did that scene, she said that ever since she found out that Kiwi and I kissed, she believed I must have forced it and pressured Kiwi into saying it was consensual. Her reasoning? Kiwi is bisexual with a preference for girls. Okay, what people do by themselves in private, it has nothing to do with Mafra whatsoever. And if Mafra really wanted to know if this was some sort of like a non-consensual thing, they could just, you know, ask. I'm sure if they ask Kiwi what happened, Kiwi will probably just explain what happened. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on, honestly.
By the looks of it, she did, because she said saying it was consensual, so she did already talk to her about it. So she did say, oh no, it was fine, it was consensual, it was just out of the blue, but we're still going to be friends. I think that's what she was like. She's probably telling her like, oh, this happened, but it's fine, like nothing's changed and all all that. Bisexual means you
Yeah,
like both people. Doesn't
exactly.
mean if she was adding more into girls, she would be a lesbian.
I know some people that are bisexual with a specific leaning for like guys or gals and stuff, but that doesn't
Same.
stop them from dating people. Like whatever, it doesn't stop them. I have a preference. Okay, I have a preference for succubi women. Does it mean I'm only gonna date succubi women? No. Sometimes I want to find myself a nice little British girl to date. Maybe I want that, huh? Is that too
Don't
much?
say.
Is that too much?
No, that was
Should
fine.
I-
That was fine. It was funny. But I was gonna say, I had a IRL friend growing up, and she was bisexual, but she had a preference for girls, like more for girls, because she'd only dated girls. But she still like went out with guys, like at some point. So it's like you can't just. I don't. It's so dumb. I don't know. It's like, oh, it must have been non-consensual because she likes girls more. It's like, but she's bisexual. She can like guys, and she told you that.
Mafra is just making up this fantasy and they're just completely disconnected from reality. They're living the
I think-
fantasy, and their headcanon of the events is basically what happened to, like, is all that happened. They're just basically trying to create an excuse for just being a jerk. That's all they're trying to do. They give themselves
I
a
think
reason excuse.
They do like her, so they're probably just thinking like,
I mean,
well, in
yeah,
their head,
they-
she's
they're
like, she
like-
prefers girls, so she's gonna prefer me instead of him. And
Yeah,
that's what
they're
it's
like Kiwi. It's very apparent from how much they complimented Kiwi all the time and letting them reroll natural ones for being a hottie baddie and stuff. We're fully aware that like Mafra really likes Kiwi, but doesn't mean that Kiwi likes Mafra back. Like, I'm sorry, this is one of those feelings that's gonna be unrequited, Mafra, but you can't be taking the stuff out in game because that sounds absolutely insane. That sounds unhinged to do. I think we said everything.
Yeah.
That's a good story. I like this.
Yeah.
I like how actively, I like how we both like
Drama.
engaging into this. Yeah, that's good.
Well, it's only
drama.
because like I've experienced because I've got friends that are like this sort of like I don't understand why you could be so dumb. I don't know. I don't want to be mean, but like, girl, she's bisexual for a reason.
We're not being mean, we're being honest. She also said it was unfair that I kissed Kiwi when she herself had feelings for her. And she even admitted she had considered sending me pictures of herself self-harming to show what I had done to her. Okay, no, that's some
Manipulator!
That's emotional manipulation. What the? Okay, this
It's giving me PTSD.
Mafra needs to be kicked out of the group. Mafra just needs to be kicked out of the game. They are toxic as hell. Get them out of here. This is not the way to do things. Jealousy is one thing, but sending somebody pictures of yourself self-harming just to emotionally manipulate them and getting away? Nah, that's not gonna fly here. Nah, Buster.
I love the fact is like it's unfair because they kiss them, but like I have feelings for it. It's like, oh, so but what if she doesn't like you? Does that mean she's still not allowed to go for anyone else? If it is very manipulating.
Yeah.
I hate that.
You
so
gotta kiss my
much.
waifu. I'm gonna manipulate you in emotional ways to make you feel bad. Man.
Yeah.
God forbid Kiwi's not attracted to a Mafra. God forbid. That made me furious. I ended up sending her angry messages in the middle of the night. It was a stupid reaction, I admit that, but I was so stressed I didn't think straight. Willow told Kiwi everything, and soon the whole group knew. As a result, Mafra was removed from the server because of her behavior. Since
Good.
then, God. Since then, the group atmosphere had been heavy. Kiwi said Mafra is still messaging her, apologizing, saying she will improve, and that we were the best friends she ever had. She even asked to come back, promising she would never let her behavior get out of control again. Some people in the group genuinely feel bad for her and are unsure whether to let her return. Honestly, I'm not comfortable with her coming back. I understand she has personal issues, maybe even mental health struggles, but portraying me as an abuser is easily the worst thing anyone has ever done to me. I love my friends in this group, and I don't want to leave because of this situation. So I'm here to ask, should I give her a second chance, even if it still makes me uncomfortable? I don't want to be the main reason a campaign we all enjoyed ends up abandoned. Maybe I sound redundant or even stupid for asking this, but at this point, I just don't want more stress. I'm already dealing with other personal issues, and resolving the situation would at least be one less problem in my life. Anyway, thanks for reading. I kindly ask you to be respectful in the comments. I don't want this to turn into a witch hunt or anything like that. Mary, what advice do you have for OP?
Like, okay, I was gonna say, first off, why didn't she block her after all that? The fact she still had her on, I guess, Discord, is it? Like, they're both still messaging each other and stuff and, like, interacting, even though she saw what she said.
Because she
it's
feels
like,
bad.
I would have...
Mafra probably told them some things about themselves, about, like, oh, I have this hardships and that hardships, and Kiwi probably doesn't want to be mean and feels bad.
Well, maybe she had issues with past relationships, maybe that's why, but
could be.
She's also part of the problem because, like, she's became a manipulator herself. I don't think she sees that because manipulators don't see it as, like, manipulating. They see it as, like, oh, like, I'm hit and I need you to help me kind of thing. Some do. Like, some do.
Some are very much aware of what they're doing. Very much aware.
Like, I don't know if she does or not. I feel like she did do it on purpose to get attention at the time because she was just really hit because of that. Maybe her last relationship ended kind of really bad, and then as soon as she liked someone else, she was hoping it'd be fine because she had similar interests and they were both women. She probably thought, oh, I can, like, may have a chance with this person. She's really nice. But I don't know, the whole, like, oh, I'm going to send her pictures of my, like, no. That just crosses the line.
I feel like Mafra is very much aware of what they're doing and they're purposely, like, fully in the know and they're manipulating, because if they really had any concerns or speculations about this being some sort of like a forced issue of OP and Kiwi kissing, you know what Mafra would do? Ask. They would just ask if they were genuinely worried or concerned. This doesn't sound like somebody that is worried or concerned that had, like, previous trauma and just doesn't want other people to get hurt. This sounds like somebody that just isn't getting the way because somebody has got to kiss the waifu. So therefore, we're going to turn this into, like, some sort of like an assault SA scene in game and then live in this fantasy and try to tell people that we have this headcanon that OP apparently forced Kiwi into a kiss against their will because Kiwi is bisexual with a leaning for girls. So she would never want to be together with OP ever. Totally not. You know, it all feels very premeditated. I feel like Mafa is a bit of a snaky individual, and I don't think OP or really anybody should be trusting with their apologies and stuff. This doesn't sound like somebody that wants to change, right? Or wants to see eye to eye. Because if they really did want to change, right? If they really did feel bad, I feel like they would contact OP and apologize. Right? That's at least would be like a hallmark and stuff of somebody that actually feels bad. They want to try to make amends after realizing the bigger picture. Mafra, however, wants to live in this fantasy where OP is the bad guy and stealing Kiwi away from them, and Mafra is just doing something to, I don't know, I guess save Kiwi from Mafra or something. I don't know. But also sending pictures to self-harm just to manipulate somebody emotionally to stay away from your waifu. That's some insane stuff. That's manipulative as hell. No, that
I feel like she's done that before. If she's already like saying she would do it, she's definitely done that to someone else.
Maybe, or they're just somebody that actually thinks about these sort of malicious things. I don't know, like people that spend no time thinking and fantasizing about doing these kind of things. I feel like they think a little bit too much about this stuff, and it just feels way too premeditated, way too pre-planned. Like this feels like it's just their MO, right? They're a new player to the group, they're a new person to the group, and probably they're just trying to say anything they possibly can or to stay with the group, so they continue plotting behind the scenes, because they're just, you know, so obsessed over Kiwi. You know, they can't see the forest. They can't see the forest for the trees, right? They're so focused on being together with Kiwi and doing everything and saying anything they possibly can just to stay in this group because they just have the hots for Kiwi because they're hottie baddie or whatever. But the obsession with Kiwi is going to be like their downfall, basically. They are focused on their immediate gut reaction of like, waifu, nobody can touch waifu, only I can touch waifu, instead of actually, like, you know, going through remorse or going through some sort of like a self-reflection of my behavior is bad, I messed up, I probably should try to seek forgiveness from everybody. But as you can see, Mafra is only contacting Kiwi about it because they know that Kiwi is not going to block him. So that's the way
she's
in.
Still, the closest to her.
Yep.
Plus, like, I don't think she's gonna change. I think she's gonna make them feel bad. She's gonna get in and something is gonna make them uncomfortable, or she's gonna end up making someone leave, or he's gonna leave at some point. Because I don't think things will ever be the same since that happen. So I think it's always going to be uncomfortable in games because people will have like those messages playing in the back of their heads, or like the situation she caused and stuff like that. It's gonna remain. Plus, people who manipulate like this are like will make you feel bad easily. With how she's messaging Kiwi and trying to make them feel, but they already half of the group already feel bad for her and stuff like that, which is like she's already got them wrapped around her finger. So if she does get let in, I feel like something bad's gonna happen. Because I dealt with, I don't want to go too much into it, because I don't want to talk too long. But in my past, I had a friend who had feelings for me, and he turned out to be kind of like similar to this, where like they'd be really nice, but then be really like horrible behind my back and stuff like that, and wouldn't take like no for an answer, and then they would be manipulative with me and like friends around me and stuff like that. And like there's times where, or the times where I would like kind of accept it, be like, okay, it's like, you know what, because they'll say sorry, I'm like, okay, that's fine, and literally the next day it'll be the same thing all over again. So it's like I don't trust people who've manipulated once, because they'll always manipulate again. I don't know, maybe there's people out there who've changed, because I know some people do go out there and fix themselves. They do get like professional help, they get therapy, stuff like that. So there, I'm not saying like every single person goes back to like their bad ways, but I know more people do not change.
Yeah,
but
like there's never say never. There's no way that like I could definitely see there's a chance of a Mafra to potentially change and actually like want to be like a decent person and actually want to seek forgiveness, but they have to go all like out of the way to not just apologize to Kiwi and get Kiwi to let them in, but apologize to the rest of the group for making them do this, and for OP for this insane proclamation and stuff. Because I haven't seen any single, like we haven't seen so far any response from Mafra apologizing to OP or feeling bad towards OP. So as far as I can tell, they're basically just going to just try to see if they can weasel the way back in through Kiwi and maybe continue their plotting and scheming or whatever they try to do. I don't know. Either way, OP, I think Mary and I in agreement. For your personal sanity, do not let them in. Mafra sounds like a snake. Do not let them in. Avoid being in the game with them, and advise the rest of the table to not let the snake in, because they sound very snaky, very slithery.
I'm sorry if she went through stuff and everything, but it's no reason to.
Yeah, just because you went through trauma, this is not an excuse to be like a pain in the ass towards everybody else.
And with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales tomorrow. Bye-bye.